Well, hello again. I'm not happy with any of this as it sits, but I'm not going to keep tinkering in the background. I think what I'm going to do is paint in these rocks a little bit. And if I remain feeling kind of lukewarm about the whole thing, I might just set it aside. Go get another canvas and do something else. We'll see. But let's give these rocks a shot. Let's try to make them somewhat interesting. You know, it's not that I don't know what to do here. I do. I know how to fix it. I just honestly, I'm just not, I don't have my mojo. I'm not interested. Couldn't care less. Usually when I get into a painting, I'll do a certain area and I'm happy with it, happy enough that it feeds me, uh, gives me drive to work on another area, just to continue. And eventually it comes together. But the last few days, I just haven't been that keen on it. And if I waited until I was keen every time I was going to paint something, I'd never get anything painted. So I'm not fond of that idea either. So we'll do this, and if it works, that would be good. Hopefully this magically turns out really well. And it inspires me to put the effort into the background. That's what it is. I'm lazy. I just don't feel like putting the effort into the background right now. Once I have an area done, I really like to move on. That's another reason I could never paint realistic paintings. I do not have anywhere near the patience required for that. I admire those who do, but I do not. Give me Impressionism any day. I like that look of the economy of stroke. And I like the challenge of making each stroke count. I've never liked the technique of going dab, 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 dab. To me, that just turns into weak painting. It's again, it's really more of a personal thing than anything, because there are many people who do that very well. I don't. In fact, you know what? I don't even agree that's really the best way of going about things, even for a realist. I think that there are times where a small brush is taken and very carefully things are laid in. But when it comes to broad strokes, no pun intended. Yes, of course, there's a pun intended. I prefer just to watch a lot of reward happen quickly. And yeah, selfish, eh? Impatient, eh? It's probably what it is. I'm using the raw umber, alizarin crimson, and ultramarine blue at the moment. I may have to add a little more light to these. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Because the rock is really our greatest point of interest on the painting, I'd like to make sure that I paint it in that way. It's a little dark. And although I always find rock formations to be the scariest, because I'm designing so much, so much is being designed as you go along, that the potential for mistakes is huge. But I like that, to me I like that scariness. It's engaging. And somewhat suicidal. But I'd do it anyway. I'm throwing a little bit of yellow ochre in here and there, just to warm things up. Yeah, I know, it's kind of a cartoony look, isn't it? But I like it. I like it just fine. My shadow's a little bit too dark there. See, if I can put in one stroke, that's my ideal stroke. That's what I love to be able to do. Doesn't happen that often. That one stroke actually completes an area. But if you can pull it off, my goodness, it's very rewarding. But it does require that you get your values pretty much spot on very quickly. Excuse me. Dropping in values here because we're getting a little closer to the edge. Whoops. Whoopsie. Ooh. Guess I undermixed that. So you're putting in color while you're putting in value, while you're painting your rocks, like creating the design. So you better be using all the parts of your brain when you do these kinds of things, because things will not go well for you if you don't pay attention and if you're lazy. And doing what I'm doing right now is the last thing I felt like doing, and I thought, well, probably shouldn't do that right now because I'm feeling lazy, but there we go again. Breaking the rules. I don't want that much light on this rock because it's on the edge of the painting. Still has to be, you have to strike a balance between plausibility and design. Just get my brush away now. And got a lot of purples, blues, umbras there. Let's pick a spot and warm it up. Add some white, a bit of yellow ochre. This might be a little bit strong. Yeah, well, yeah. Yes, it is a little bit strong. Sorry if I'm mumbling. What I said was, yes, it is a little bit strong. You get into this mode of introspective thinking, and you start to forget that you're talking to a camera, and then you mumble, or I shouldn't say that. I mumble. Okay, so we've got a bit of a crack there, which I'll put other stuff in there later. Let's not worry about that. And that's sort of our strongest, so I'm going to take it down a notch. Stay with higher values, but not get too too light with them. No. Okay. Yeah, let's have this little rock join this plane of colors here as well. Okay, a little more white, a little more yellow ochre. funny, when you add a bit of yellow ochre, sometimes it can fool the viewer into thinking you've gotten higher value, when in fact all you've really done is worked with higher temperature. You know, you've warmed up your paint visually. A little generous with that color, actually. So what if we lighten this up a bit? I think that'll fly. Yeah, I think that'll fly. Now once I've got a pile of stuff that's too high in value, it takes a lot of adding dark stuff to it to drop the value. So I like to squeeze the paint out of my brush with my high-tech toilet paper and get back to the lower values more quickly that way. Okay, that's a bit too low. This isn't much lower, but it's colder. Yeah. I can live with that. Now let's go warmer again, but subdue the values quite a bit. I'd like to carry this light, here, jumping up to here, jumping up to here. Not as strong back in here, it's pushed back just a little bit, but warm temperatures again, keeping the colder colors down below. But I think I also have to be mindful that I don't want the colors here to imitate the colors on the trunks. So I don't want to get too trunky colored, even though these trunks and these paints and these colors will have, there will be similarities. I just have to be a bit mindful, that's all. Not a big deal, just subtleties, eh? Painting definitely requires attention towards subtleties. Okay, I think I'll leave that. Lower that value a little bit, Phil. Come on. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Come on. A little bit more purple in the background here. That pushes it back a bit too far. I've gone too purple. That's slightly better. Let's add a little bit of yellow ochre to it. That's much more like it. Okay, I think we're looking okay. And actually, all in all, I'm beginning to like these rocks more. Okay, let's jump into some alizarin crimson and a bit of raw umber. Let's just do that. For the variety of the color. Heck, I'm even gonna lay it in there. Okay, I don't want to lay it in this crevice because we're gonna get into some reds here, and I think I'd like to leave that crevice more in the direction of blue. Okay. Ultramarine blue. Leaving the odd speck here and there. Oh, that's not quite enough value. Don't start getting clumsy on me now. Yeah, it might seem kind of strange, but I think it adds interest to the area, so we're just going to stick with that. I'm going to add a little bit of burnt sienna to it. Which of course you can barely see. Give my brush away. Make it a little bit stronger maybe. It's a pretty close neighbor to red, so I don't want to get too carried away with it. And I probably should have left that crevice darker, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. However, one thing I am going to do, because I got a little bit clumsy, and in general it looks, it looks like I don't have fingers, I have wrists and I paint with them. When you scrutinize it, you see small differences, and those can really bother me. And one of those is the fact that this line went missing. So we'll reintroduce it. Just a bit, not much. This line also went missing right here. Just a speck or two, but that can, I don't know, I suppose it's my own mental illness speaking, but hey, if it bugs me, it bugs me. Some things I just can't let go, which is, well, it's a curse and a blessing. Okay, I'm just going to have a little stand up, a little back up, and a little look at it. Well, I think that any anomalies that are in here, will be explained away, or the viewer's imagination can explain them away. I think that works. This is a little bit. That little bit is a bit kind of. Flat looking because it only has the. Like I used a mini roller to paint it in. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. I don't want to paint wet and wet. The strokes are good. They're direct. Let me square the camera off with the rocks and give you a better view. Yeah, zoom in a second here. Why not? Yeah, we're coming along well, I think. I think that's going to work out. Well, for the moment at least, I feel a little more engaged by the painting, maybe the actual challenge of getting the rocky designs in there helped. Anyway, so far, so good. Let's talk soon.